Hi, good evening, everyone. I welcome all of you on the behalf of DigiSaksham. Myself, Atul Garg. Today we have with us Mr. Vijay Singh Rawat, who has experience more than 10 years in the industry. So we hand over the mic to the speaker. Mr. Vijay.
Thank you, Mr. Atul. Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is a fine Saturday evening. All of you could be, enjoying this evening at different places, at different time, at different people, actually. But I'm really happy that you guys are here, spending your time to listen to me, and this shows that you're very serious about the procurement thing, and I assure you that I will make sure that your time is worthwhile, right? Let me just start by introducing myself. So I am Vijay Singh Rawat. I have done my BTech in mechanical, my MBA from a state government university. I'm a double gold medalist in operations and finance management. I have nearly a decade of experience in procurement and supply chain management. I have worked with companies like MetLife, Excel Technologies, world largest telecom companies. So different fields actually. I've seen procurement, how does it function. In fact, I've studied supply chain management as a subject in my MBA. I've written a couple of papers on supply chain management. uh, I've also been awarded by various industry bodies like NASCOM, ISTM in field of procurement. So that's just my brief profile. Start with the session now. Procurement overview, opportunities, and opinions. So the presentation which I'm gonna show to you, present to you, is based upon my learning of procurement from my decade old experience. This is what we actually incorporate. We studied, or I have studied books in procurement principles. The books are the most theoretical. What I'm gonna present to you is what is actually being done in companies across the globe, India, and even by government of India for that matter. Right? This is what we cover: procurement overview, RFX, the famous RFP thing, the techno-commercial, the power of procurement, why it is critical for any and every company and even for the country, importance of the country, the process maturity of procurement, the opportunities in procurement. So the session is going to be all about these. Moving on, I mean, this is the summary we received while we sent across the invitation to this webinar. What we will cover, what is procurement, why it is important, stuff like that. I have a detailed example of Raphael in this. So the session is not only important for people who are working in procurement. This is also important from a sales perspective. So I deal with so many salespeople. I mean, countless. And nearly from every field. So I speak to the owners of mid-segment companies, to small startups. I speak to senior vice presidents and heads of large companies like Infosys, Accenture, Microsoft, and I speak to all of them. That's from our IT side. I also speak to large senior vice CEOs or CXOs of large non-IT companies because they want to sell their products or goods to me, right? And I, from my company's perspective, want to buy it from them. So, I feel that they have so less knowledge of procurement function. When they speak to me, they are constantly pushing for their goods and services. They are not interested in what exactly is made by the company. This discussion will also be an eye opener for salespeople. This is how procurement works, right? They are not really interested in the product. They're more interested in fulfilling the technical and commercial rating. So we'll discuss about that. Yeah. What is procurement? This is a standard definition. Procurement is basically a process of buying goods and services primarily for corporates and institutions, end to end. When I mean, procurement is also utilized by government of India or all the governments across the globe. It's called public procurement, and they have different kind of policies. But the fundamental for private and public procurement remains same. We have two kinds of procurement. I mean, the procurement is further subdivided into categories: direct and indirect procurement. Now, direct procurement is something which directly impacts the company. For example, if I am buying a pen, or I'm a company which is selling pen for that matter, all the raw material for the pen will be my direct procurement. All the other stuff, which is like marketing and HR will be my indirect procurement. So the product which are being utilized or deployed for my uh, core product which I am selling as a company will be called as direct procurement, and goods and services which I buy just to support my main product will be indirect procurement. So, for example, I mean, for a laptop, Dell, HP, the hardware will be the direct procurement. The marketing cost, the TV actors, the ATL, the BTL they do will be your indirect procurement. So that's about direct and indirect procurement. Now, every company, every company they earn income from the primary sales of goods and service, right? That's how I mean all the companies do. Uh, the idea of procurement is that they intend to spend their hard-earned money in a very judicious manner. Now just talk about a pen company. If I'm selling pen across the country, I'm earning revenue by selling that pen, right? I cannot allow the people of my company or my company to spend that revenue in an unjudicious manner. So hence the procurement function comes in. The idea is they ensure that every penny spent is in a most optimistic manner. I can't say best because the cost could always be lowered on subsequent purchase. So I'll say the most optimistic manner you'll have to spend your money. So the role of procurement function in a company is they have to ensure the company money is well spent. All those sales people they're working very very hard. How do they and they work really really hard. So the idea of to have a procurement function is that the money gets spent in a very wise fashion. And we'll talk about that in subsequent slides. Now, procurement function also have to drive the savings in the company. They have to ensure this is the most critical role of a procurement function. They have to ensure that goods and services are available to business, right? Now, you'll say, savings and spending should be the most critical function, not ensuring goods and services. I'll again go back to the pen example. If I'm selling pen, I will need to have the raw material for pen. Does not matter at what. If I don't have the raw material, my sales will stop. So there are two options available with me. Either I have it at higher cost or I don't have it. So if I have it at higher cost, yes, my margins will get hit. But if I don't have it at all, then I am gonna have zero sales. So that's the worst condition. So business continuity is paramount for procurement, which is never ever highlighted. If you see, if you talk to any procurement author, I'll say procurement author, procurement professional who has worked just for 4 or 5 years, they will never be able to pinpoint the criticality of business continuity for procurement. They just think it's about buying and ensuring savings are there. No, it's all about ensuring the goods and services are available. Otherwise, the whole idea of procurement doesn't make sense. Other important functions of procurement is they have to manage the vendor, meaning the customer, vendor relationship management, customer relationship management, the risk associated with the vendors. I mean, current times you can all talk about risk. The coronavirus time, all the supply chains are hit. So there are risks associated with vendors, the deliveries, the goods and service. Procurement team is supposed to manage that. Now, there is I mean, I'm sure you would like to see this sourcing and purchasing, or basically procurement difference. And I've also mentioned sourcing, or rather, I'll say procurement is larger than, sorry, the procurement is greater than sourcing, and supply chain management is greater than procurement. Now, I'll explain to you what exactly I mean. So, sourcing is just the process of buying goods. It is basically negotiation. It will talk about vendor identification, requirement gathering, RFX, and then just negotiating and closing it. Procurement will go to the next step. It will also talk about purchase order release. It will also talk about just give me a second. Sourcing will just talk about negotiation, vendor finalization. Uh, Procurement, on the other hand, will extend to purchase order release to the finalized partner. Ensuring the invoice is generated by the vendor is correct invoice, the payout to the vendor, the end-to-end cycle will be procurement. Supply chain management, it's a very hot word nowadays. I was listening to Mr. Modi, our respected Prime Minister the other day during unlockdown one. He mentioned this word 5 or 6 times during the speech. Never ever supply chain or procurement person would be happy to listen to such words. Or listen to a speech by the Prime Minister of India mentioning their functions. I myself was very proud, listening to that particular speech. And I actually heard it 4 to 5 times he mentioned supply chain management. So, what is supply chain management? So, procurement is only about buying stuff, ensuring vendor gets paid on time, uh, basically buying, right? Now, supply chain management also encompasses the logistics, the warehouse, the inventory management piece into it, right? Procurement is just buying. How do the goods get delivered? Where they're stored? In what fashion they're stored? That is supply chain management. In fact, there's a very I'll say generic definition of supply chain management says right product at right time, right cost, with right tools, right quantity, right quality. That's the generic definition of supply chain, which even encompasses procurement. So I hope you understand that sort of thing. It's just buying, procurement is buying, vendor management, and your payment and stuff. And supply chain management is even inventory, logistics, and warehouse management. So that's why this relationship has been mentioned. Now, so there are ERPs available. So ERP enterprise resource planning software. They kind of connect the company together. They connect the sales, finance, HR, all the functions are connected. All the uh, entries which impact our P&L are actually recorded in ERP. From a procurement perspective, we release purchase order to the vendor. We will run RFP or RFX. I come to that in detail. Those activities are done in the ERP, right? If you talk about me, I have experience of working in Oracle, SAP, Ariba. Uh, there are other the other tools like JRD, PeopleSoft, which I haven't really worked upon, but the functionalities are similar. They have different GUI, graphical user interface, different look, but they function in a similar fashion. You create a purchase order with these tools, you relate it to the partners, you make payouts through these ERP. This is actually the full procurement process, which all the companies, all the countries, countries which are democratic and stuff like that. Countries which are fair actually. I'll put it this way. Most of the countries like our country they follow. This is the full-fledged process. So this talks about the business requirements. First of all, the business will have to come to us that they want to buy XYZ goods. For example, for pen, if I sell a pen to the market. The production manager, production head, they'll come to the procurement team. They'll say, I need raw material for the pen. Yeah. Uh, the first step is very critical for procurement people, especially because until we don't understand what we are buying, we will not be able to negotiate. So business requirement, SOW, statement of work, what exactly they need, they will have to really write it down to the last point they can think of. Next step after that is basic vendor identification. So we guys are like, so based out of our experience, we know who will be able to provide the raw material because we would have worked in that industry. We could look at the past previous buy, from where our companies bought or other companies buy. We could there are tools like DNB, wherein which has vendor repository created already there, or we could just Google it, raw material for pen, or it will be basically plastic or material, but you'll have to have the specification of the material. Or you could Google it. In fact, you'll be surprised to know there are so many supply chain startups that are coming up. They make you they make buyers meet sellers. Not like OLED. It's kind of OLED but for corporate. Startups have kind of doing this. I keep going to a lot of conferences. I meet them, and I think they're doing a tremendous job. They bring down the cost. And it's a good. Now, once you identify basic partners, then you will do an X, I'll say. So X is a variable. It could be P, I, Q, or an RA. And I have a detailed presentation, in fact, two-page presentation to explain what is an RFP. But for now, let's understand that RFP is just process of soliciting quotation or requesting quotation from the partners, right? So I have a requirement. I will float it to the market to selected vendors. Then we will finalize vendor on basis of techno-commercial method. Another great term, and I have another presentation to explain what is techno-commercial. So we'll finalize a partner that I want to buy the plastic material from this vendor at this price of this specification. So that's techno-commercial. Avoiding the RFX, basically informing the partners that the RFP is formally closed, and now to the losers, I mean, to the people who don't qualify others, just mentioning that the RFP is concluded, all the best for next time. To the winners or the qualifiers, to be mentioning that you have won the RFP. Now let's move to the contracting phase. Contract is another very important part of procurement. We do not own the complete contract, but I'll say all procurement professionals are paralegal. When I mean the paralegal, we will have to understand the basics of contract. There are boilerplate clauses which we need to understand, like liquidation, limitation of liability, indemnity, termination. The few clauses which we need to negotiate and understand into the procurement professional. Being a procurement person doesn't mean you will only negotiate price. You will negotiate a payment term, the legal TNC also to a large extent. Then comes the process of releasing purchase orders, then the goods and services. Once we release the purchase orders, which is legally binding, the vendor will deliver goods and service, whatever we have placed an order for. Then they will raise the invoice in the ERP, and the invoice will be approved, and the payment will be made. So now there could be multiple other steps after this, like vendor governance, evaluation of the raw material. So if it's a service, we have to see if the service was delivered properly. These are, but what I've mentioned is very basic step which the very basic of the company which have procurement function will do. Next is my favorite topic, which is, I mean, it will be the favorite topic for every procurement person, which is savings. Now, cost savings, they're actually divided into two parts: cost reduction, cost avoidance. Now, I'll give you an example, or maybe let me tell you the definition. Cost reduction is basically reducing on the existing cost. Cost avoidance is basically avoiding a future cost. Now, let me give you an example. Suppose I am buying a pen. I buy a pen at 100 rupees, right? I bought it for 100 rupees last year. If this year I buy it for 90 rupees, 10 rupees is my hard saving for cost reduction. Now, why is that? Because my finance would have provisioned that 100 rupees in my expenditure this year. But so they would have actually provisioned it or budgeted it, right? But I have made an impact in the PNL by reducing the cost by 10. I hope you guys are getting it, right? The cost avoidance, which is cost saving, is like, for example, I'm buying for the first time, and I don't have a concrete budget. The first quote is 110 rupees, and but I close the pricing on 100 rupees. I'm buying it for the first time, so I don't know the exact budget for it. So in this case, the 10 rupees difference will be your cost avoidance or cost saving. I hope this is clear, guys. So the three broad sub-classification of procurement. For example, not example, I lead a team of procurement in my organization. I head procurement as well. So I have my team is divided into three categories, and which is done in most of the organization. So my procurement team is divided into sourcing, operations, and governance. Now, sourcing guys, they actually do vendor search, RFX, negotiation. They have negotiation tactics like fact-based negotiation. They use skills like something called BATNA, best alternative negotiated offer, something of that sort they do. But they are more of strategy guys. I'll put it. The strategy people. They do commercial closures for me, sourcing team, right? Next is operations team. Somebody who releases PO, creates a purchase order, releases the purchase orders, helps vendor with invoicing, ensures vendor payout, vendor master, registering a vendor in the system, adding their PAN, GST, hell lot of activities we do. Uh, uh, Sourcing is more, I'll say, more of uh, brain heavy job. Operations is more of a, as its name suggests, operational job. Uh, Not that you don't need a lot of brains in that, but you do have a lot of hard work there, right? The last segment, the last team I have is governance. They are the people who create policy, the procurement policy, the supply chain policy. They ensure the policies adhere to. They do audit for the team, and they also manage audit. So as the procurement people, they subject to internal audit, statutory audit, multiple kind of audit. Governance people also manage the supplier relationship management. They oversee the sourcing and operation people. The sourcing guys, they work as per the guidelines given by governance people, and governance people they keep an eye on them. How do they work? Operation guys also work as per the guidelines by governance people, and governance people ensure that they manage the tax properly. The pre-operation tax, the vendor payout tax. The governance team also is responsible for reporting the monthly savings and operations done to me and the CFO. So that's how the procurement team is divided. Moving on, this is the famous RFX. Everything in the country or large MNC or government regulated entity are procured through RFX process. The RFX they have actually three categories: RFI, RFQ, RFP. Now, RFI is basically when you need information from the vendor, as the name suggests, request for information. So when you have vague idea of what you need, but you don't know the exact specs. For example, in my pen example, I know I want to create a pen, but I know I need some plastic material, but I don't know the specs. Then what I will do, I will not a RFI because I don't have the specs. I want vendor to create a spoke for me. So that is where we use RFI. When we have big idea, you want to buy something, but you don't know the specification of the item, right? RFP and okay, RFP is primarily for solutions, wherein I have everything know I need. I know the specifications. I need a solution, so I will ask for a proposal. Request for proposal. It is basically the process which is followed by Techno-Commercial because RF next is RFQ. RFQ is primarily for goods or services. Sorry, goods primarily for goods which are standard in nature. For example, I am buying this plastic for my pen. Once I run RFP, I have the specification. Then I'll run RFQ. I will not run an RFP because in RFQ I just need commercials from the partner based upon the specification I've given. If I am running, if I want the raw material along with I want the partner to give me the packaging and a full fledged. In fact, I want to have the full fledged pen instead of just the raw material. Then maybe I'll run an RFP wherein I will mention what along with specification. I will also mention the service level, right? So request a quote is basically for standard goods. Request a proposal is for solutions or services or products or goods with services. So that is the difference. In RFI, I have a vague idea. In RFP and RFQ, I have detailed scope of work. That is the difference between RFI, RFQ, and RFP. Usually, people run RFI before RFQ and RFP in case they don't have an idea. RA is an auction, reverse auction. It is again done for standard goods. Actually, you could do an RFQ or you could run an RA basically. For example, in my company, we run an RA for instead of RFQ. Now, reverse auction is when there are multiple sellers and one buyer. That's the reason for auction. What happens in a normal auction? There is a seller and multiple buyers. In a reverse auction, there are multiple sellers and one buyer. Right? Buyer is our procurement team. Right? There are multiple sellers. If I want to buy raw material for my pen, the plastic specification mentioned, I will have multiple vendors coming to my ERP, the portal which we talked about, Oracle and stuff like that. I'll ask them to come for a specific time, bid their pricing. The lowest bid partner or vendor will be highlighted in the portal. Other vendors will have to put on prices lower than that particular price to win the auction. So that's reverse auction. Now I will like to show you example of an RFP. So this is an RFP run by Reserve Bank of Information Technology Private Limited, a Government of India undertaking. So this is how government entities they run the RFP. If you see this RFP, this is very detailed RFP, and this all government sector RFPs are publicly available, so anybody can refer to them. In corporate and private institutions, we do not have this much of detailed RFP. It's detailed, yeah, it's 20 pages. This one is 80 or 78 pages. So we don't do this detail, but yeah, our RFP is also pretty much detailed. If you see, there's so much of information, disclaimer, what is the objective of the RFP, what do they exactly need, what is the warranty they need, go live, milestones, the payment terms, the SLAs basically, evaluation process they talk about, the bidding process, the techno-commercial bid, journal instructions, and there are multiple elections the supplier is need to fill and give it to them. I will urge all of you to go through any of the RFPs and you'll see how detailed they are. To the next thing, yeah, this is once the RFP is done, what happens next? Receive proposals from the we receive proposals from the bidders, the sellers basically, in this case, right? Now there has been a history of awarding the RFP, RFQ, RA to the L1 vendor or the lowest cost vendor. Now, this has not exactly yielded good results. Now I'll give you an example. So I am buying pen. I'll go back to the pen example. This is the simplest one. If I want to buy a pen, somebody is vendor A, B, C. Vendor A is giving me for 110. Vendor B is giving me for 100. Vendor C is giving me for 90 rupees. Now, if I just go by commercial, which is L1, I will just buy it from vendor C at 90 rupees, right? But I mean, there are multiple technical factors should be factored in. For example, how many words this pen can write. Maybe pen provided by vendor A could just write 10,000 words. With B, 8,000. With C, 12,000. So others could be what colors does that pen write? What is the ink cost? There's something called TC, total cost of ownership. So I buy that pen, but the ink for the pen is costly. So the pen is 100 rupees. Um, um, for partner A, the ink is 50. But for vendor C, who is my L1, the pen is 90, but the ink is 60. I'll end up spending more with partner C, though it look like in first go that vendor C is the L1, but if I cancel the TCO, I might revisit my decision. The grip quality, for the pencil, how smooth is my writing? What is the warranty of the plastic? So these are the factors which should be considered before making a procurement decision. You do not buy anything just based on cost nowadays. Hence, the advent of techno-commercial, basically evaluating goods and service on basis of technical parameters along with commercial and then taking a decision. So if you see my screen, uh, we're buying something, there's a technical parameters, there's a criteria, the weightage, and then eventually if you see there's a technical rating, right? Out of 10, if you see there's a technical rating of 9 given to partner A, 10.2 to partner B, and 9.8 to partner C. Then this should be supplemented with commercial rating, and then the order should be paid. Uh, uh, if I have to take care of this particular procurement, what I will do as a procurement person, I will ensure I negotiate the hardest with partner C and get best prices with partner C. Also, good amount of discount from partner A. I might end up placing an order in partner C if it is my L1 or the lowest cost. Reason being, by doing so, my business will be happy because they're technically best, and I will also save a lot of money. So I hope this techno-commercial part is clear to you guys. Uh, Moving on. Oh yeah, this is power of procurement. One of my famous favorite examples. I've seen it somewhere. I just actually stuck my mind. For first 5 years, I never realized it. I was such an important function. I'm sure you guys are aware about the front line function and the support function. Procurement is always a support function. Sales and product primarily a front function or main function. But this example will show you how procurement, why procurement is important and this example for corporate, but it's important for everyone, right? Because it impacts your P&L. So there are only two functions basically which impact your P&L. One is sales, another one is procurement. Uh, Now you might agree that HR and marketing they also impact, yeah, but the procurement for HR and marketing is done by procurement team. The manpower process there, but this example will show you why procurement is important for corporate. This presentation of this particular slide will show you why procurement is a critical function. All of us we think that only sales makes an impact to P&L or profit and loss of that of a company, but that is not the case. Procurement makes a major impact in the P&L of any and every company. This slide or this example, this actually struck me long back. I was listening to conference. I really, I did not knew that I was working such a tricky function until somebody told me. So this slide will show you why procurement is very, very critical for every company. Now, in the first graph of the diagram, if you see this excited company, their revenues are 30 lakh a year, right? The raw material cost is 25 lakh total. The 30 minus 25, 5 lakh is the operating income, and then there is a margin of 15%. Now, what companies usually do? What typical company will do? Mr. Atul is also running a company. A lot of people are running companies. They will pump up their money in sales. They will, and I've seen that, a lot of companies, they incentivize sales. They do so many of training. In fact, there's a study which says for every 100 hours of training is done to a salesperson, only I think 5 hours of training is given to procurement function. So you could see how the importance which is given to procurement people in India. I mean, across the globe it's increasing, but in India, not that great. So what if in this example I increase the sales by 10%, assuming my expenses will also increase by 10%, my operating margin will remain same. No, so I'm saying if I double my operating income from 30 lakh to 60 lakh, my expenditure will also increase double nearly. Yeah? That will be 50 lakh. Again, my margin will remain same. Now, I, as a company owner, try to do something else. Instead of pumping up that multi crore or whatever money to my sales, maybe I'll push some money or some incentives to my procurement people also. I will maybe and then you will see the impact. So if my sales remain same 30 lakh, my cost of goods sold or an operating expense, they get reduced by 10% from 25 lakh. 10% 25 lakh is 2.5 lakh. Only 20,000. So total cost is 22 lakh and 50,000. If you see the difference, the operating income will be 75 lakh. Revenue minus cost, the operating margin will nearly grow by 9%. You know, so if I spend a little, a very little on my procurement, keeping my sales constant, I can increase my operating margin. So this will show you the importance of procurement for any company. So for companies, what eventually matters is the balance sheet. So procurement is one of the critical functions which can make an impact on the operating margin. So that's what this presentation I hope has being able to make yourself aware that procurement is a critical function for every company. So I'm assuming all of you are aware of the GDP, the total of the goods that are sold in the country. In India, the government procurement is touches 30% of the GDP. It's a big number. We say all of us say that IT is like 10% of, for example, I don't know the exact number, but IT is 10%, like industry is 20%, so X%. Procurement itself is 30%. So it's a very large number. India is like $2 trillion country intending to go to $5 trillion. Look at the procurement this government does. And when I say government procurement, I need to say from the file to reconstructing the parliament. I mean, you name it, and everything which government of India procures is done by I mean, it's from obviously country's taxpayers' money, but that constitutes of government procurement. Which is of thousands of crores. I have to be honest. Now, I've just taken an example of Rafael. I've mentioned this, I've told you the RFP and Techno-Commercial process. Rafael and all the other goods and services in our country are managed by, are procured by an RFP process itself. So, there is a defense ministry, it manages this RFA process. It is at all the procurement in government or government sectors is governed by CVC, Central Vigilance Commission. I'm sure you would have heard of it. Now, we can just go to the text file. The MiG 21 of government of India, they were like kind of obsolete. So they want to buy a new air fighters, and was floated. RFP was floated in 2007, right? And I told you about RFP in the previous slide. Then there's a technical evaluation which happened. So if if you see, if we would have procured it based upon L1, we would have just ended up buying from China at that time. So it's good that we didn't do only commercial evaluation, we do technical evaluation. So based upon technical evaluation, the Rafale and Eurofighter Typhoon has met the criteria. So the technical rating would have a criteria. For example, I mean, again, this is highly confidential RFP. I'm assuming the criteria will be could they do mid-air fuel, how many loads of weapons they can carry, how far they can fly, at what Mach they could fly, 1.5 Mach, I think something is right for Rafale. Yeah, and which generation fighters are there? Rafale, I understand, is 4.5 generation fighters. So those second criteria, only two fighters planes could qualify, Rafale and Eurofighter. Now, Rafale was declared L1 bidder. L1 is lowest cost. This is Techno-Commercial. Technical rating happens. Multiple requests were there, vendors were there. Only two qualified after technical, and one obviously it will be one after commercial. So Rafale won that order, and the contract negotiation began, and there were some hurdles. The Dassault aviation was not willing to take responsibility for quality because they wanted to produce political stuff. I'll not go into that. Yeah, so again, the deal was made of something 54,000 crores. The NDA government said that they are making some savings. So if you think, and this happens in our company also, whenever we save some money in product, the product team they end up taking the credit for it. It happens in government also. Don't worry. So those poor procurement people in defense would have done some negotiation, and the government end up taking the credit, but that's very obvious. Uh, and then what they did eventually is government to government deal. So the deals of this or the details of this deal is not available public domain. So in procurement purpose also we have exceptions. This was an exception deal, or it was made an exception deal. So, for example, in my company, I can buy to whatever value, but for exceptions, which is going ahead with L2 vendor, second best cost vendor, with exception, other partners, there is exception which is given by the CEO. Similarly, in a country, government of India can take that exception. They can violate the RFP process, but in this case, they did not violate the RFP process. They followed the RFP process, just that they did not disclose the deal information. And I think the information is, I think we eventually got the handover of couple of Rafael last month, which is great. So what I'm trying to highlight here, guys, is that everything you see done or procured by government of India is through the RFA process. That is the power of procurement in the country. So it's just, procurement is just not a small term. It is there everywhere. It touches your life in manners which you even don't know. And I've just taken example of Rafael. There are other things also government of India buys. Whatever you're getting from government of India, and if it is bought from somewhere, it has gone through a large process, which means procurement people have helped you. So we procurement folks are hardly recognized for all the value we do for the company or the country. But and I'm not saying this because I need that value. I'm just saying that this process touches your life without you even knowing that. Going forward, process maturity and acceptance. There are multiple ways of defining maturity in procurement. In fact, there are standards like CMMI tools, which define maturity in any process, be it procurement or any other. But I will here say procurement could be of three categories in any company: reactive, proactive, strategic. When I say reactive procurement, I am trying to say it is managed in a very reactive fashion, as a word. So just basically need the production head comes to me, he says I need raw for 10. Then I'll find vendors to give me raw material, I'll buy it, I will do some savings, I'll report some savings. That's all. No, I will not take any more initiative. Proactive, on the other hand, is basically I know I will ask in the beginning of the year, I'll ask my production head, what is that you need in the beginning of the year? Please tell me. So I will have a quarter to plan for it, maybe run multiple RFPs, do multiple round of negotiation. The process are basically more streamlined, and I will do saving and I'll validate them. No, I just have to saving. This is cost reduction, cost avoidance. A lot of time, procurement is they do not report correct savings. I will also validate the savings. So that's proactive. The highest level is strategic. I will be a part of the product development. So while I will not go to the procurement or production head and say what material you require. I will be a part of that meeting with the CEO or somebody who's the decision maker, along with the production team, the marketing team, and when they will be discussing now we this year we want to launch a pen. I'll be part of that meeting. I'll say, what are your target products? For example, say students, then I'll say, maybe I'll have to check with my vendors which are the most durable material. I'm saying basically I'll be part of the strategy formulation. I will be just not a department which should be involved when required. Um, I will work with sales and product team to develop new products. I will also be a revenue generator, and this is something which is now gaining importance. In fact, I tell this to people. So I'll go back to this pen example, and I'll tell you how I also did it in my company. I am my primary KRA in my company at is savings, continuity management, and stuff like that. I also have an additional KRA of revenue generation. Now you'll be shocked that procurement is a cost center; it is not a profit center. How can I generate revenue? I talked about power procurement. I will also say that procurement guys are really, really powerful with respect to the repo they have with the suppliers. Uh, I can mandate my supplier to use my goods and services. For example, in this pen example, once I develop this product of pen, I will ensure within my RFP, I will build up a clause that all of my vendors should buy my own pens. These vendors will have recommended pen in their respective organization. I will ensure that they buy the pen from me only or my company only. See, I'm also leading to sales. So that is strategic procurement. This is getting a lot of importance. I have gained a lot of appreciation in my own company. Now, and in fact, procurement guys, they're very good at sales roles also because we know the product. We know that, sorry, for sales, they just do the basic features, USP, and they'll go ahead and market and sell. Procurement guys, they have bought the raw material. They understand the cost of drivers of that particular product. But once we go to sales, there's a different level of discussion we do. I'm not saying that sales guys are not good enough. I'm just saying that we have more information. And in current scenario, procurement people are doing sales. That's their additional care. It's my company, and I do a good job in that. Because I control the vendor ecosystem. That's strategic procurement. Going on, globally procurement is it's already matured in large MNCs like MetLife, Canada 50 company. It has decade-old supply chain policy. It's called Bible. You can't change it. In India, procurement is gaining importance. So initially, I'm sure you are aware, there was a procurement function. It was HR administration. It was additional responsibility for HR. Nowadays, with finance, but slowly, it is going gaining importance. In fact, supply chain has gained importance in COVID era. Right? Modi mentioned supply chain multiple times. Uh, mm, uh, Procurement, it remains reactive in most of the companies. If there are 100 companies in India, I'll say 50% have reactive supply chain, and I'll say 60% have reactive supply chain, and only 40% have proactive supply chain. Very, very few will have static supply chain. We still do not have the concept of CPO, Chief Procurement Officer. You would have heard of CPO, CIO, or a lot of other. CPO is still a function which is evolving. As we go to strategic procurement, the role of CPO will be enhanced. They will be given more authorities, but that's yet to happen. That's not there. MNC is there, but in local entity companies, it's not there. Opportunities. So a lot of opportunities in procurement now. I mean, now they're growing. Uh, I say procurement and supply chain. Supply chain will have logistics, warehousing, and procurement opportunities. Uh, so what has happened? Why there are opportunities in procurement or supply chain now? Because there is focus on cost reduction. Every company they want to reduce the cost. If the sales is limited, the only way they can make their balance sheet stronger is by reducing the cost. Healthcare, all the healthcare and their ancillaries are hiring procurement professionals. I mean, in fact, to be honest, I'm getting so many calls when I'm from healthcare industry that we want somebody to create a procurement department or create a procurement head and stuff like that. I'm shocked, something. There's a lot of opportunities in healthcare, especially because of the current coronavirus thing. Now, they're also exposed to supply chain risk. I said supply chain in the beginning, the right product, right person, or right people at right time. That's not happening because of coronavirus. So they have realized there's a risk in my supply chain. There's a lot of risk professional to manage the supply chain being hired. There's a lot of opportunities in procurement supply chain. That's what I'm saying. And supply chain is going from reactive to proactive. So if it's reactive, you require list of people. If it is proactive, you need people to plan your procurement. Since in India, the procurement is moving from reactive to proactive. Hence, the hiring is going on. There's a lot of studies. You're aware about Big Four, EY, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG. They've done so many studies of risk in supply chain, and I've given links to few of the studies. You should go and study it. You will see that the world is talking about supply chain. So the reason world talks more about supply chain than us is that the supply chain is matured there. For us, we are listening to the first time. I think that this Mr. Modi is the first prime minister who has spoken, was uttered the word of supply chain so many times in one session. Otherwise I don't think any of the leaders is really focused on supply chain. There are a lot of procurement bodies, which will give certification, which manage, which are recognized globally in the region of procurement and supply chain. I mentioned few of them: CIPS, IIPMR, APIS, ISM. ISM is one of the oldest, I'll say. There is a special institute in India also, and the worst part is we are aware about global bodies. We are not even aware about the body which is in our own country. It's IIMM, Indian Institute of Material Management. I have not mentioned it. I have not given the full form. I wanted you to guess it, but I just kind of revealed it. It's IIMM. They give us a lot of diploma degrees in supply chain procurement. They collaborate with KPS, ISM, and a lot of other bodies. So basically, what I'm trying to say is a body of supply chain procurement in India is called IIM. Uh, it is not really developed. If you ask me, I've been to their Delhi center. The fundamental problem, now I'll go to the opinion part, and then I'll open up the question to you. The fundamental problem in India is that we do not realize the importance. In my field, I'll say supply chain procurement until we don't push comes to shove. We could have strengthened our supply chain logistics, but we don't. We haven't. Now we are starting to do that. Now the logistics is a part of supply chain. Along with procurement and warehousing, every product which you use, like your pen, your laptop, it has gone through supply chain and logistics also. So if government of India today improves the logistics network, like railways or the sea ways or the trains, the cost of logistics will go down. It will have a cascading effect on the cost of goods and services. If you have good highways, we'll reach our office little on time. We'll spend less time on roads, more time in office and at home. Our quality of life will increase. Something the impact of logistics of supply chain is not only on cost, it's on life of the country. And we as a country should realize it, and we should really. It's my request to government of India to really, really look into it. And all those countries are developed. They're developed because of reason. Because they focus on the supply chain. You go to Japan, they talk about just in time, which means I will procure raw material only when I need, but I'll plan it in advance. This can never happen in India. We cannot plan. We will not do that. I'm being honest. I think if we need to be developed, or developed nation, we need to have better quality of life. We need to have better supply chain. And I think one more slide. If you mention about future courses, if you are really interested, you can reach out to DigiSaksham. It's about contract management. So contract management is basically, from a procurement perspective, all the clauses will cover all the boilerplate clauses, the clauses which are, like indemnity, termination, limitation liability, apart from basic commercials, like pricing terms and all. Procurement in service industries, and then there is the father of everything, supply chain management. It's 10 sessions because it will encompass logistics, procurement, contract management, then there is IT procurement, non-IT procurement. If you guys are interested, please reach out to Mr. And that's all from my side.
Thank you, Vijay. It was lovely session with you.
Yeah. I'm really grateful to all of
Thank you,
you.
Vijay.
I feel that time is of paramount importance and all of us should value it. And I'm thank you that you have attended my session. And guys, have a great weekend.